All right. Welcome to the Perfect Madness Wrestling Podcast. Here we are. There's your host today. I'm Chris Daria, and I just want to say a thank you to all of our lovely Perfect Madness supporters out there. That's right. You're our very own PMSers, and we're very happy to have you here. Absolutely. That's what we're going to say about that. With me, as always, is the disembodied voice of the mysterious Raw General Manager himself, Adam Eaton. How are you, buddy?
May I have your attention, please? I'm good. I'm kind of happy that I'm the one that's always here, and our mysterious, conspicuous by his absence, Mr. Jesus is not. So I know he's watching, and I hope he heard that.
He probably did. He most definitely did. Yeah, that's right. Our longtime correspondent, Jesus Oliver. We have sent him. We have sent him on assignment. Today, we sent him over to Dudleyville to get an exclusive interview with Sign Guy. So we'll see how that goes. He's notoriously not the most talkative member of that clan, but he seemed. I think if anyone can get him to talk, Jesus would. What would you say so, Adam?
Yeah, he can get anyone to talk, or better yet, get people to listen to him since he does most of the talking himself.
Good point. That means that this podcast will be shaved in time by about 45 minutes. So, everyone, I think you guys will be all right with that. So, here we are today. We got some Fallout. We talked about WrestleMania. We talked about the Hall of Fame. Now, we just want to do something fun again. We talked about a couple of weeks ago the best of 2014, thanks to the Rexport Pro Wrestling Awards, aka the Fezzies. Now, the Fezzies gets a little negative sometimes, and we got the worst of 2014 on the docket. If you remember from a few weeks ago, it was a very NXT heavy and indie favorite heavy award show. Now you're going to see what the fans that make up what we collectively call the IWC have to think about what sucked about wrestling in 2014. I'll give you a hint. There's a lot of John Cena. So to see how that goes, take it as you will. Adam, any thoughts before we get started?
Um, If there's a lot of John Cena, I have not actually looked at the list. I'm just going to say if there's a lot of John Cena, then I already disagree with a lot of it. And I'll just leave it at that till we get to it.
We'll see how it goes. You'll see. Oh, it's going to be a surprise for Adam. It's not a surprise for me because, well, I have it right in front of me. So we'll take a look through and we'll get started. So, Adam, first award up is the worst wrestler of 2014. The award was first given to Junkyard Dog back in 1990. Last year's winner was the Great Khali, and this year we have Eva Marie taking home the top prize. And rounding out the top five, as I always do, is Cameron in second place, then the Great Khali, Mojo Rowley, and Rosa Mendez. So we got Eva Marie breaking a little bit of a streak that the Khali had going. What do you think? Is this deserved? Is this not deserved? How does Eva Marie stand with you as being a wrestler?
I cannot stand Eva Marie. I cannot stand watching her on Total Divas. I know it's a scripted reality show, but I feel bad for her husband at times because she's just dumb. Um, I will say that the only bad thing that comes out of this with Eva Marie being number one is she actually wins something in the sports entertainment world. Um,
I
the,
know it
I
is.
mean, now she has a claim to fame to something, and will never be forgotten, at least for the Thezzies.
We were trying to avoid that, and unfortunately, the fans have spoken. I am inclined to agree. Yeah, the position she's in definitely does not lend herself to being good at anything, and they kind of thrust her right in that spotlight way too early. So it's just one of those things where it's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But still, she could have at least tried. I really don't see the effort that she puts in. I definitely sometimes feel for her character on Total Divas, but that's about the most I can go is pity on her. I will say, yeah, that's about it. I will say that for me, I voted on this thing. I think it was either a toss up for me on who to put first, Eva Marie or Cameron, because I just really, I hate to say just diss the divas so much, but these two in particular are just not doing it for me at all.
The
So,
only thing I could say about Cameron is that at least according to Total Divas, she's trying. Like she wants to be there. She wants to
mhm.
be on TV. She went to NXT, or so she said, to try and get better. But I mean, that's the only thing that would save her with my vote.
Yeah, good point. Good point. It's nice, and you'll definitely see some of the other names that floated on this list in the top five moving forward as we keep going here. But yep, Eva Marie definitely gets the nod this year. People were saying she should have got it last year, and now they don't have to be disappointed anymore because she is definitely, I think, the worst wrestler going right now. Now we'll move in to the worst tag team of the year. Back in 1990, back 25 years ago, this was given to the team of Rhythm and Blues, Greg Valentine and the Honky Tonk Man.
What?
Yep, I know. I'm not happy with it either. Last year, it was given to the Great Khali and Hornswoggle off of a repeat, so they're two-time winners. They're trying to go for a three-peat, but this year it is broken by Adam Rose and the Bunny as the worst tag team of 2014. And rounding out the top five, we have Los Matadores, the Bella Twins, the New Age Outlaws, and the team of Mojo Rawley and Bull Dempsey. So I'm going to start with this one. Yeah, people really just didn't want to see this after a while. And when it comes to that, I'm inclined to agree with what's going on with Adam Rose and the Bunny. The gimmick had such promise at the beginning. I really, really enjoyed Adam Rose in NXT, and then they made it all about the Bunny, which I'm pretty sure is either Justin Gabriel or Zack Ryder at this point. And I feel sorry for those guys sometimes having to do that. But definitely when it comes to this gimmick, when it comes to this tag team, it just didn't work for me. Although I will say I disliked Los Matadores since I first saw them appear. And I think that the artists formerly known as Primo and Epico deserve so much better than to be cast in a gimmick that even Tito Santana couldn't make work. And that gimmick got on WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania 9, I should say. El Matador. It did.
For the IC title, even.
He did have a match, I believe, for something like that. So out of these, you see the top five here, Adam Rose and the Bunny. Are they the worst tag team in 2014?
The problem with this list is I don't know if you can even consider all those teams tag teams. I mean, how much tag team wrestling happens in the Diva division? And, I mean, you can't really judge the New Age Outlaws in 2014. That's really not fair for a nostalgic purpose. I would go with Adam Rose and the Bunny. They drug the storyline out too long. I mean, it was interesting. Everyone wanted to see who the Bunny was. They wanted to see that turn, and every time we thought it was going to turn, they're like, "Oh no, they're best friends." Like it went back and forth, and we never got any closure, and people just grew tired of that storyline and Adam Rose, and I think that's kind of what led to his downfall, so to speak, or one of the reasons. But yeah, they could be considered the worst tag team for honestly a lack of a better option.
I would agree with that. And if this is the end of the Adam Rose character, I hope that the gentleman who plays him keeps going, and maybe we get a return to Leo Kruger out of this. I don't know how that would happen, but I would definitely not be opposed to that. I loved the Leo Kruger stuff back in NXT in 2013, I believe his stuff was. I don't know if you remember any of that, Adam.
I didn't see much of him. When I caught glimpses of him, he had just got injured, and then I kind of stopped watching for a while. Then he returned. Part of the reason too, they brought him up from NXT way too fast. He like appeared on NXT like 1 week, and then the next week he's on Raw, and I'm like, wow, okay.
That's something we'll get to a little later on too. But I do feel like this gimmick worked almost too well in NXT. It was so good down there in that small crowd that when you bring it up into arenas and maximize that amount of space, it just didn't translate as well as it should have, and it could have, in my opinion.
Exactly. I was actually surprised at the reaction he got down in NXT to begin with.
So it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I absolutely adored that. But we're going to talk about that. There'll be another opportunity to talk about Adam Rose, I promise. We're going to get into the worst heel of 2014. Back 25 years ago, this was given to Rick Martel in what I consider to be a travesty. Gotta love the model. He was one of my favorites.
What were people thinking back in 1990? Like,
Not good things, apparently. Not good things. Rick Martel is a classic now, but back then probably not the best. Last year's award winner was Dixie Carter. I don't even have to make a joke about that, and so everyone who's watching can go drink right now because we just bashed TNA again. I might have some more opportunities to do that, but we'll see what happens. And the worst heel of 2014, as voted by the fans, is The Big Show, closely followed by Kane, Fandango, Cameron, and Adam Rose. So more time to talk about Adam Rose. But, man, this one, go ahead, Adam. What do you think? Big Show.
Okay, the Big Show's had so many turns. I'm not sure which one this was. 2014. So was this him joining the Authority finally?
This probably was joining the Authority. I think that was the only time he turned heel this year.
Okay. Yeah, just wow. Anything the Big Show does is kind of bad now. I feel bad for him. Because I've been watching Nitros on the network right now, and he is talented. And now it's just, it's like, really, this is what you're doing with this guy? So I guess I would agree. Corporate Kane wasn't very entertaining, only because they go back and forth with, he's Corporate Kane, now he has a mask on, now he's Corporate Kane. But the work he did wasn't bad. To be able to transfer back and forth between the two, that wasn't bad. So I would rate the Big Show worse than him.
Yeah, he's got those characters pretty down. I just think we got to. I just think this is a case of what I'm calling authority fatigue. That the Authority was everywhere. Kane was mucking everything up. Big Show was staunchly against it. Then, oddly enough, randomly later on, he's now part of the Authority in a random heel turn that really didn't make very much sense. So, and this is like heel turn number 437 in his career. And we were sick of it at heel turn about 15. So this is probably anytime the Big Show winds up turning for no reason, people aren't going to like it. And I certainly didn't like it. So I get that. I can definitely understand that one. I don't think Fandango was that bad to get into the top 5. I think that they were worse than him this year. They certainly didn't do what they could have done with him, but I don't think it was that bad.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
I mean, when you're way down low on the card, I mean, I don't really want to rate you like as horrible because you're already being lowered than what you should be. So it's kind of a double whammy. Good
point. I get that. I think I want to spend as much time on the Big Show as possible. Whatever. I'm done spending time on him. Let's go down to worst babyface. Back 25 years ago, this was given, and this is going to surprise you, but remember the time frame. In 1990, the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, if you will. I guess people did not like the polka dots back then, baby. Not a big fan of the polka dot and Sweet Sapphire or anything like that he was doing in the WWE. I'll stop doing that now. I might do a whole podcast like that one day. We'll see what happens. The last year's winner was The Miz for very obvious reasons. The Miz as a babyface did not work. And this year's winner, John Cena. Told you he would come up a good bit, and this is the first time we're seeing him. Followed by Batista, Roman Reigns, Brie Bella, and Mojo Rawley. So John Cena, don't get hyped, stay hyped. That's what you got to do. So John Cena is voted worst babyface of the year. I am not inclined to agree with this one. This is the first one of probably many that I'm not going to agree with because, yes, we get tired of his shtick. He does the same thing. People keep trying to get him to embrace the hate. But he played his role really, really well this year, especially going up against Brock Lesnar. He really made him look great in that. I just can't see why people would think it's so bad. Yes, it's tired. I'll give you that. It's stale. But is it the worst? No, I think bringing Batista back as a babyface was probably the worst idea they could have come up with. The man came off 4 years ago, was one of the hottest heels in the company when he walked away, and then everyone's expected to cheer for him again like some conquering hero. and I'm just not a huge fan of that. I don't think it worked at all. And the others, I think, I don't know. Roman Reigns is fine. Brie Bella was, yeah. Yeah, Mojo Rawley was the worst babyface in NXT since Bo Dallas. So for people who watched Bo Dallas pre being a douchebag heel that everybody loved. So for people to watch this and see Mojo Rawley getting hyped, and we'll talk a little bit more about him later on, but dang, not the best. But my vote would go to Batista on this one. Adam, what do you think? And I'm sure you're going to agree with me and disagree with everybody else, so go for it.
Yes, I am probably the biggest John Cena supporter in the IWC. I can go into a whole story of why, but I've liked him since his debut in 2002 against Kurt Angle on SmackDown. Absolutely. And I've never gone away from that. It's like having a favorite sports team, so you like them through all the ups and downs. So I never have anything bad to say about John Cena, and I never will. With that said, I disagree. He wasn't the worst babyface because, like you said, there was Batista. But I'm inclined to not rate his 3 weeks as a face before his actual heel turn. And I'm going to go ahead and give it to Mojo Rawley because I hate that guy.
I hate that guy. Great reasoning. I love that.
It's nothing personal. I just watch him on NXT and I don't see the appeal. I don't understand why everyone likes him coming out like a crackhead, running around, just being all I don't know what's wrong with him. And he's just basically became a glorified jobber by the end of 2014. He looked like he was in for a push, and then all of a sudden he's losing to debut guys. I think Bull Dempsey beat him on his first night.
Yeah, he got knocked around by Bull Dempsey, got knocked around by Rusev. Basically, yeah, he just wasn't.
Yeah,
that's kind of died on him.
And then everyone's still cheering him, and I'm just like, I don't get the appeal to this guy, so I'm gonna go with him, just because I can.
Yeah, I kind of understand that. I had high hopes for him because he looks freaking amazing, and he's got great speed, and the work could be there. It's not there by any means necessary, but it could be there soon enough. Just the character got old every once in a while, or as it was going on. I wasn't the biggest fan of it at all. We might see him again. We're definitely going to see him again. I promise you, Mr. Rawley. So we'll see. And now we have the Worst Worker Award given to the person whose work rate sucks. Last year, 25 years ago, Junkyard Dog won this one. Last year, it was given to the Great Khali, who has won this award ever since his debut back in 2006. So nice. That's 8 years, and the streak continues. The Great Khali is the worst worker of 2014, followed by Eva Marie Cameron, Rosa Mendez, and Mojo Rawley. So Rawley and the dregs of the Divas division, as I like to call it, just underneath Khali. And this will probably be the last year Khali's going to win this award. So he gets to retire. He gets to go out on top. He gets to go out on top. The Undertaker can't say that. Great Khali can say that.
And Eva Marie can now have something to aspire for, a record to actually break.
Absolutely. And I could make a million jokes, a million statements about how crappy his work rate was, but they've all been said. And if I say them again, then it's just going to be me being redundant. And I don't like to do that very often. So do you have anything to add to this, Adam? Because, I mean,
I would go with Eva Marie on this one, partly because of my hatred for her. And I know that Khali actually did a lot of stuff for the company over in India. So maybe his work rate in the ring wasn't very well, but helping the company expand into new territories is always a good thing for everyone, even us, because the more they grow, the more we get to grow. If they get more fans, then the more chance that we have for fans. I
can understand that.
she's on a reality show that no one respects. I mean, I watch it; it's
Mhm.
entertaining, and when she comes on, I get a headache.
Mm,
Um, I, I don't see what she does for the company besides some photo shoots,
yeah.
some book signings. But I mean, if you're not on TV and you go to a some kind of press conference, people are gonna be like, eventually, like, who are you? Like, I bet my son wouldn't know who she was. He knows who everyone
Yeah.
else is, but I mean, he's not gonna know who she is. So
Yeah,
I
I
would go
get
with
that.
her.
I mean, she definitely is the worst wrestler in my mind, but and that's what a lot of people were saying that about Kali winning worst wrestler all those times because he does serve a purpose. But when it comes to the work rate, if we're judging solely on work rate, which is what this is, yeah, I think he's terrible. I think he gets this one. I think there probably is a good bit of sympathy for him since it is his last time around for this one. So everyone's just like, okay, let's just give it to him one more time. But
Yeah, let's
man,
give it to him, and Eva
he
can have
look
her spotlight next year because
she'll get it next year. She'll get it next year. I mean, the dude,
she's not getting any better.
no, he looks like he's walking on stilts every time. He looks like his knees are going to break every time he takes a step. Thankfully, he's not Kevin Nash, so he won't tear his quad every single time. That's good. Uh, you can drink for a Kevin Nash joke. I make those a bunch, so go ahead, drink for one of those. Somehow you can connect it to a TNA joke. But no, Kali, I mean, he's got basically 10 moves, and all of them are terrible.
Does he
So
even have that many?
I mean, big boot, chop, vice grip, the plunge, maybe one punch, and the rest of them are him posing and screaming. So I don't even know.
The Kali Kiss Cam.
The Kali Kiss Cam, that's a move. That is a move. So there you go. That's that one. I'm gonna keep it with Kali, and we'll see if Eva Marie can overtake him next year. Now that he's no longer with the company, so we'll see what happens. We're gonna move on to the least favorite wrestler award for 2014. This is just given regardless of why people can choose who they just dislike. This award was first given out in 1991 to Hulk Hogan, who then won it for the entire duration of the 90s. 1991 to 2000, every year in there, he won or lost, I guess, least favorite of the year award. This past year, the last year, it was given to John Cena, who also won in 2012, and he gets it again. So he three-peats. He might be on a streak with it. And it's an overwhelming amount of votes given to John Cena. The next place gets beat. Big Show is second place by 1,000 votes. So there are 1,000 votes separating John Cena from the Big Show, and then we get Roman Reigns, Kane, and Eva Marie to round this out. So this is probably where a lot of people. I can see why a lot of people would put this down. And the picture, if anyone wants to go to the award site and see it, the picture to show this is John Cena in the middle of the confetti parade during quote unquote John Cena Appreciation Night that the Authority threw, which I think is just perfect. That's perfect. It's perfect madness right there. See what I did? Enjoy it.
That's nice.
We try, but people just don't like him. I don't know. I think whatever it is, stale, 5 moves of doom, whatever you want to say. People just don't like him. I happen to like the guy. I would give them. I voted for Batista. I don't know what he's not doing. I really did not see a point to Batista in 2014. That was my thing. My vote would go to him. I think John Cena's all right by me. He does what he needs to do. But if people just don't like him, I can't fault them for having opinions. So that's my take on it. In my opinion, this award goes to Batista, and it will in my mind. So Adam, what do you think?
Again, I have nothing bad to say about John Cena. I would go with Batista or even the Big Show. How many people do you talk to that say the Big Show is my favorite wrestler?
I don't think I've ever heard that, honestly.
I think maybe one person, like kid, liked the Big Show, and I think it was an actual wrestler's kid saying something on Facebook that their kid likes the Big Show. Um, I mean, if I'm looking at this award and you're asking me who's the least favorite, I'm not going with John Cena because he is. A lot of people still like him, and yeah, they're
Mhm.
kids, but I mean that's people that like him. I don't know anyone that says the Big Show is my favorite wrestler. How many people actually like Eva Marie? Like, have you ever heard anyone say I like Eva Marie?
Nope. No matter how many times Total Divas tries to flip those B-roll shots of people really liking her. We don't. We know it's the lie. It's not there.
So I would go with I would just go with the Big Show on this one.
Mm.
If it was 2015, I would say Roman Reigns, but we're not there yet.
And he has time to redeem.
2014. Yeah, 2014. He was pretty over with all these people that are hating him right now. He was pretty over with all of them.
The problem with this award, the one criticism I have about this award, and I think it's a great thing getting the fans involved on this, but the one criticism I have is that there's a lot of, and we saw this with the best ofs, a lot of late, like recent memory stuff. So if you're looking at the whole year, Roman Reigns is definitely not the least favorite because he got way over when the Shield broke up, and even with the Shield, he was one of the more over guys watching matches back from Extreme Rules and Payback. He was probably the most over guy in that group at the time. And then he gets hurt and goes away and comes back, and then they thrust him back into the spotlight and everyone hates it. So that leads me to believe that this is a lot of just recent memory reaction stuff with him. But he was fine.
I was at SummerSlam live, and he faced off against Randy Orton one-on-one.
Yep.
I was not big on Roman Reigns until the WrestleMania match. I can honestly say that I did not jump on the Roman Reigns bandwagon last year.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see more. Me and my friend were the only two in the arena cheering for Randy Orton. I mean, the crowd was nuts for Roman Reigns. And if you don't believe me, go get the network for $9.99 and watch SummerSlam 2014 and listen to the crowd, Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton, and tell me I'm wrong.
They loved it. They loved him. I don't know what happened when he got that hernia injury, so
the bad promos. They should have kept him quiet and not said anything. We didn't need an update.
We didn't need updates. We didn't need nursery rhymes or fairy tales. So that can kill you real quick. But definitely in my mind, it's either the Big Show, like you said, or my vote goes to Batista on that one. Blue-tista, whatever you want to call him. I don't even know. But we're jumping down now to the most deteriorated. So the person, kind of the opposite of most improved, the person who has just over the past year has skill level has just gone way south from what he or she is normally accustomed to being. 1990, this was given again to the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. If people really did not like the polka dots, then it shows. Last year, this award went to Rey Mysterio. And this,
Nice.
this did. Unfortunately for the guy. I voted for The Rock last year, and I think it was there. And this year, I am very, very disappointed to say this, and I don't really agree with it. But the most deteriorated wrestler of the year for 2014, as voted by the fans, is The Undertaker by a wide margin. Again, another 1,000 votes separate him from second place Kane. Then we go down to the Big Show, Chris Jericho, and Rey Mysterio to finish this one off.
Oh.
I don't agree with this at all, Adam. What do you think?
I want to know who's voting so I can track each and every one of them down and smack some sense into them. How do you judge a guy on one match that he got hurt?
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, you should know the story. If you're going to get on the internet and you're going to go cast your vote, you should know the story. That's ridiculous.
It makes no sense. I would take him out. Absolutely. He didn't even count for me. I didn't even consider him as an option when I voted for this.
I would say maybe Adam Rose or Fandango, because look at the pushes they were getting in 2013 to where they ended up in 2014. Wow, I'm kind of blown away. And then they put Chris Jericho on the list.
I mean, I don't agree with that one either. I don't think that he was there when it comes to it. I really don't agree at all with that choice because, I mean, the dude left. He's 44 years old and he left off a steel cage. That to me alone.
That's what I'm saying.
That to me alone tells me that he's not. I mean, sure, he's not doing the stuff that he did back in the 90s, but he's also 44 years old, and he's still able to throw some stuff like that back in. So I'd say that's pretty good. I'd say that he's okay. Kane, Show, Mysterio, Sure, they can be in here, but definitely not the Undertaker. Whoever did that is dumb, and I'm gonna send Adam to your house to slap you, and I'm gonna send the genius over there to read you some poetry on how dumb you are, because that is just not a good idea at all. Like we said, one match he got a concussion. It's just not even. It's we don't even need that. It's just not even a thing. My vote again was for Batista because of just how winded he was in like everything he tried to do since he returned. I think he finally caught on at the payback match. The blue gear must have given him some powers. I don't know, but it was fine. Whatever. Not the Undertaker. This one has a sour taste in my mouth. I'm going to move on before I yell anymore. Adam, you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm just kind of blown away, and I'm just kind of done. I'm almost done with these awards because of that.
Uh, there are more coming that make a lot more sense, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We can. If anything, this is just our opportunity to yell at the internet, which I'm totally okay with doing. I like yelling at the
That's
internet.
always fun.
And that was always fun. So now we'll come down to the most overrated performer of the year, the most overrated wrestler. Back in the 90s, 1990 and 1991, Hulk Hogan, brother, got this one. Last year, it went to Randy Orton. People did not like seeing him as the authority figure piece. And this year, in a move that I really don't agree with either, but it is very spread out, goes to John Cena. John Cena gets it. He only beats this one by 300 votes, so that's a little better than 1,000. And second place, Rob Van Dam going down the line. We have Big Show, Roman Reigns, and Ryback taking these. There is an argument. There is a disclaimer that that the people who write these awards usually do. Usually say is that people who think that John Cena is overrated are wrong, and I would agree with that because he's not. He
I agree.
constantly puts forward in big matches throughout the year. I mean, his performance at SummerSlam is probably one of the most selfless things I've ever seen coming from a performer since Bob Backlund lost the world title in 8 seconds. That there's that. And then he had great matches with Cesaro and Swagger and Sheamus on the beginning of the year, and Christian, all these great workers. And he could still constantly deliver. And even the Wyatt stuff was good. I enjoyed that too. He just delivers. He's not overrated by any means. He might be your least favorite, and that's okay that he's your least favorite because you have the right to that opinion. But for where he is in the company and the work he was able to do this year, he's totally fine. Again, my vote went to Batista, who's not on this list, which is stupid because I did not like his work here. I will say, I thought he was brilliant in Guardians of the Galaxy. If you didn't see it, you're dumb because he was fantastic in that movie, but that movie is not the WWE. And his work in the WWE just did not cut it for me. As far as the other guys even on this list, yeah, Rob Van Dam didn't really do much for the position that he was put in. Big Show, we've talked about it enough. And I think, I don't know, at the end, I liked seeing Ryback up there. It wasn't a problem with that. And Reigns, no problem with that. So out of them, I guess Rob Van Dam is the pick for this five, but I'll throw Batista back in there because I just did not like what he did for the WWE in 2014. Adam, I know what you're going to say, but go ahead and get it out there because the internet needs to know how pissed off you are.
Um, One of my biggest issues with the internet, they judge people's in-ring ability by their personal feelings of their character. It's happened every year almost with every new star, and it started with John Cena. Everyone's like, in 2004, oh my God, this guy is great, blah blah blah, and then he's on top, and they don't like him, and all of a sudden he can't wrestle. Like I don't understand that. Excuse me. CM Punk, everybody's favorite wrestler for about 5 years, 2006 to 2011, and then he goes on his 434-day championship run, and all of a sudden he can't wrestle. Daniel Bryan, he gets his run up top. Everyone's favorite wrestler. Now he can't wrestle. It's annoying. Um, you don't all of a sudden can't wrestle. Even in TNA, this is not actually a shot at TNA.
Don't drink.
Ethan Carter
Nobody
the third.
drinking.
Ethan
Oh,
Carter the
yeah.
third. EC3, one of the best talents on that roster, the most
Oh,
entertaining
absolutely.
guy right now. And what does the crowd chant? You can't wrestle. It
That's
it annoys
correct.
me. I hate that chant with a passion. Unless like Carly or even Marie's in the ring. Um,
Unless they deserve it.
unless they deserve it. Yeah, but Cena, EC3, I mean that's just horrible. Um, so overrated, I would go. You can go with Batista because I didn't see the point in bringing him back at all.
No.
Um, the fans didn't want him back. He was supposed to get a shot at the title, and he was so overrated by management that they had to change that on the fly. Um,
Basically.
personally, in 2014, I would choose Roman Reigns as well. Like I
Hmm.
said, I wasn't on the Roman Reigns bandwagon. I will admit that after WrestleMania, I am now. While everyone jumped off of
There
it,
you go.
at the turn of the year, I jumped on it. So
There you go.
all of our dozen PMSers out there, you could join us again and
Yeah.
be part of the perfect few, the
There you
perfect
go.
right, because we are right and everyone else is wrong.
Absolutely. I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. So good use of PMSer. So there you go. John, yeah, sorry that John gets so much hate, but what can you do? The internet's going to internet, I guess. So we're going to move on before I get angrier at this. Although this one does, the next one's going to make me a little angry. Is the worst gimmick of the year? The first winner back in 1991 was Erwin R. Shyster, who
Oh,
back then
come on.
apparently wasn't. I know. He's great now. Nostalgia. Probably at the time nobody liked him, but whatever.
You can
Gotta
tell
give it to him.
the difference in eras when they were voting in 1990. We don't know all the ins and outs. The people that are probably
Exactly.
voting, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, that guy sucks. Like I'm gonna vote for him."
Exactly. Whereas now everybody loves IRS. When he shows up, it's great. Everybody loves
They
it.
were like, he was great
Last
to
year,
get that gimmick over.
absolutely, he got it over most definitely. Last year's winner was Antonio Cesaro yodeling for some reason, which yeah, you probably forgot that happened, but it did. And this year's worst gimmick of 2014 is the New Day as stereotypical fun-loving black wrestlers, is the exact quote there. Followed by Adam Rose as the Russell Brand of wrestling, John Cena as an anti-authority rebel, Emma as Santino's girlfriend and a dorky dancer, and the Ascension as Legion of Doom knockoffs. I'm gonna take this one because I honestly don't agree with the New Day winning. They didn't win by that much either. I think only like 250 or something like that. But man, talk about not getting a chance. Talk about not getting it going. I mean, they also debuted, I think, back in November, December, something like that. When the this collection as the New Day appeared. So, not again, recent memory hate syndrome, or I guess you can call it, because it wasn't that. I don't think it was that bad. I mean, sure, they could be doing a whole lot better. I think they're starting to now. Apparently, they're getting a little bit of a heel turn, which is, I think, the way they were gonna go in the beginning, back in the summer of 2014. But these guys are. It clearly looks like they're having fun, even though it says stereotypical fun-loving black people. Clearly, looks like they're having a good time with it. I don't think it was that bad. If anything off this list, I'd say Adam Rose would get it, just because of how much potential that gimmick had, and it just completely was wasted. I don't think we had. I don't think New Day bombed as bad as everybody thinks it does. And if I'm going to go with something off the list, my actual vote was for, and yes, I drink because I'm bashing TNA, Jeff Hardy as Willow. I thought was the worst thing of the year, and I love Jeff Hardy. He's one of my favorites growing up. One of my favorites, even with all the drug crap and everything, until 2011 when he pissed me off a little bit with the whole Sting thing. But then he comes back. He's seemingly okay. He's seemingly in a good spot, and they give him a gimmick which again showed promise about this weird side of Jeff Hardy, this Willow, and then it was just treated like Jeff Hardy in a mask. That was the basics of the gimmick, was Jeff Hardy in a mask, and it really
Like
didn't
Mr.
matter.
America.
Basically, and I saw Mr. America live once, and it was actually pretty damn awesome. So I have a little soft spot in my heart for Mr. America. But this was Jeff Hardy in a mask, twirling a weird looking umbrella and doing nothing different. doing absolutely nothing different. So I thought that might have been that, and Adam Rose might be it for me. So Adam, does the New Day deserve this, or are you on my bandwagon that actually likes this?
Um, a couple issues I have with voting the New Day here. One, I think the problem that the fans had was they thought that New Day was going to be heel.
Hmm.
Um, that's just what they assumed, and then we got faces, and the fans are like, no, this is not what we thought was going to happen, so this sucks. Um, because the WWE proved the IWC wrong, which is great. That's always great. Um, and so now they don't like the New Day. Another thing I have to disagree with, the stereotypical black guy. I hate hearing that from people critiquing characters, black characters on wrestling. Um, for me, growing up in that kind of environment, like hip hop, urban environment,
Hmm.
that's what they relate to. That stereotypical, if that's what you want to call it, right? So like when Crime Time was around, I loved the gimmick Crime Time,
Loved Crime Time. It was
and
great.
people are going to bash it like, yeah, and people are bashing it like, oh, the stereotypical black gimmick. Well, if you want to expand your demographics, you need to give that demographic something to relate to. And so, yeah, for us white guys, we can sit there and it's like, oh, it's just a stereotypical black guy. But if that's what they relate to, then that's the character that we need on TV. So they're like, oh, let's look at this, and then they'll stick around for other things. Um, so you can't stereotype because we can stereotype the John Cena, the goody good, listens to the boss, does what he wants to do type thing, or the rich white guy that could go against authority because even if he gets fired, he has a lot of money and he's going to get hired somewhere else because he's white. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
so we can't just stereotype because of another race because I mean, we could sit here and stereotype the white guys. We really
All
could,
day.
but
And
for some
it's
reason,
not
like, go ahead.
go. Oh, I was just gonna say it's not like this is Saba Simba and Akeem the African Dream and Kamala in a tag team. Those you could say were pretty stereotypical, but this is fine. I don't have a problem with that with this
Yeah,
one. And
I don't either. I am excited for this new heel turn that they got.
so we'll
Um,
see. Who would you put in its place then?
when you were reading the list, Emma popped in my head because I hate her gimmick.
No, so
It's
over in NXT though. So over in NXT.
and I
They
don't
love it.
understand why. I
It
don't get
works.
it.
It works so well.
But
I think it's great. They did not, and this entire category, and sorry to cut you off, is basically an indictment of WWE creative, I think.
it
Because
is.
a lot of these gimmicks
Um,
worked really well in one place, but then just couldn't get over anywhere else. Even Emma, the
but
Ascension, Adam Rose.
I am going to agree with you and go with Willow.
Hmm.
Uh, but for different reasons. You loved Jeff Hardy. I've always hated Jeff Hardy with a passion. Even when he was in with Hardy Boys, my favorite was Matt. Um, I hated the spotlight that Jeff got because I felt Matt did all the work. Um, while Jeff Hardy was jumping off stuff, Matt Hardy was actually wrestling, and actually related to that. But that's for a different story. Um, I actually wrote an article for the other site that I won't mention. I'll post it uh, here in the next day or so about Jeff Hardy and his mediocrity, and then the mediocrity of Willow, because Willow, the vignettes got me excited for Jeff Hardy for the first time
Absolutely.
in like 12 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I was excited. I was like, oh, what is this character? I was like, oh crap, that's Jeff Hardy. This is going to be awesome. Like where are they going to go with this? And then it was like, oh, that's Jeff Hardy under that mask. Oh look, Jeff Hardy does a twist of fate. Oh, I mean Willow. I mean he's carrying an umbrella, so he's Willow. Oh, like who is just it was ridiculous, and he lost all the luster and everything. And the gimmick could have been good, I believe. It could have been
I,
something that
it could
TNA
have been
hasn't
so much better.
had. He could have been like this new mysterious monster that Abyss originally was,
Mm-hmm.
but they just, it's TNA. Drink. So,
Drink. Go ahead. Go ahead, drink, everybody.
so
Jesus,
I'm
if
gonna go
you're
with Jeff Hardy and Willow with worst gimmick.
I would agree with that. And Jesus, go to the bar on the train and grab a drink because keep going. That's what we're doing. I'd say that. It's a shame. It could have been so much better than it was, and that's I think what makes a gimmick really bad is the potential sometimes too. One thing that I'm definitely going to agree with the fan voting on this one is the worst move of 2014. Originally, back in 1990, this was given to Hulk Hogan's leg drop, which
Saw
sure.
that coming.
Absolutely. Back last year, this award went to the Miz's attempt at the figure four leg lock, which nobody liked. And this year, I definitely agree with this. This was my vote, most definitely. The worst move of 2014 is Mojo Rawley's hyperdrive butt drop, followed closely by Big Show's knockout punch, John Cena's five-knuckle shuffle fist drop, Emma's Cobra and socked striking blow, and the Great Khali's skull chop. Adam, go ahead. What do you think? The hyperdrive, is that the worst move of the year?
I don't even know if I know what that is, honestly.
Okay. So basically, the move is Mojo Rawley hits a couple corner splashes and then a flying butt drop to a guy's face. And then when the guy's down, he yells, bounces off the ropes, and basically sits on his chest and then pins him and he wins.
So almost like Earthquake's finisher?
A little bit, but less believable.
Okay. Sounds good.
The thing with Earthquake's finisher in that he does the shaking thing, and then he's a 400-pound dude running and putting his full weight on someone's chest. That hurts. Like whenever Rikishi did it, that hurts. Whenever Yokozuna did it, that hurts. This guy does not look like Earthquake, does not look like Rikishi, does not look like Yokozuna. He looks like a built football player, which is what he is. The corner splashes was a good idea because that's what he can do. But this move, I'd suggest Adam go watch some video of it because it just sucked. There was absolutely nothing. There was nothing redeeming about this move. It doesn't even look like he's sitting on him. He just kind of squats down, basically touches him with his butt, and then gets off and pins him, and the guy has to sell it. And it's just I can't get behind this move. If you're being billed as an explosive powerhouse athlete, lazily running off the ropes and then kind of sitting on somebody is not the kind of way you want to finish your matches. That's just my opinion on that one, and it was just awful to see. That is part of the reason, and I think a big part of the reason why Mojo Rawley fell off so much. It's because you would think that this move, the hyperdrive, was maybe just a placeholder until he got some better stuff under his belt. But no, throughout the entire year, he kept going back to that well over and over and over again. And that was basically all he could do. He would sell for a little bit, 2 corner splashes, flying butt drop, and then the sit-in butt drop on the guy on the floor. And it just didn't work. Just not even.
Sounds horrible.
It is terrible. This is probably one of the only times I'm going to agree with the people who did this, mostly because this was my first vote too. It just was not a thing I wanted to see. It wasn't a good idea. I didn't enjoy it. I won't enjoy it. If he comes back and he doesn't have better moves, I'm sorry. Then we're just gonna go away. Because I would like him to have better moves. I think he can do stuff. Because he looks like he can do stuff. But then he just doesn't. And it's upsetting. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. Otherwise, I'm going to go punch something. I don't want to do that right now.
Go find an IWC here.
Go find somebody in the IWC who voted for John Cena in the New Day and punch him in the face.
And The Undertaker. Okay. Make sure they voted for
The Undertaker. And The Undertaker. Absolutely. So now we'll go to the worst match of the year. And back in 1990, this was given to a match that happened on June 13th. I don't know what major event that was, if there was one. But it was Ric Flair versus the Junkyard Dog. People did not like the Junkyard Dog back in 1990.
That could have been a Clash of Champions.
Was that a Clash? Was that a Clash? It most likely could have been. Last year, it was given to the Survivor Series match between Randy Orton and The Big Show, which makes a whole ton of sense. And this year's winner is Eric Rowan versus The Big Show in a stairs match at TLC and Stairs, followed closely by a Raw match from September 15th between Cameron and Naomi, a.k.a. Cover Him, that match. Then a June 23rd match between Stephanie McMahon and Vicky Guerrero in a Pudding Wrestling retirement match. Then we have in fourth place the Extreme Rules Bray Wyatt versus John Cena cage match, and rounding out the top five, the Royal Rumble 2014 match itself. So, Adam, what do you think? Big Show and Eric Rowan as a stairs match. Should this be the worst match of the year?
I don't know if I actually saw this match because I was having problems with my internet around the time of TLC and Stairs. I've seen everything else, but I think I might have just skipped over this match because there really was no appeal to begin with. So I could say it, but I mean, if you have Naomi versus Cameron, I'm more tempted to go up there with them, or just any Eva Marie match at all. Like let's just give it to her. Like her whole match that gets worst match. Like yeah, they're all tied for the worst.
I can see that. I don't agree with this one. I was able to catch this match, and I thought that even though the concept is stupid of doing a stairs match, they were actually able to make it work fairly well. They did some pretty unique things with it. They set up a barricade. They made basically a wall of stairs and then speared somebody through it. And I thought that was cool. And Eric Rowan, say what you want about the Big Show. He's nowhere near what he was. But Eric Rowan can do some pretty good stuff for a big man. Definitely the underrated member of the former Wyatt family in that regard. And if you're going to pick a worst, if you're going to go with TLCS for your worst match, I think the chairs match between Ryback and Kane was even worse than this one. I fell asleep through it. That's how bad it was in my mind.
Another bad match would be Brock Lesnar versus Big Show at the Royal Rumble 2014.
Was that even a match, or did you just beat on him for 90 seconds?
Like it was supposed to be a match. Like that's why. Can you count it as a match? But I mean that was bad. That was horrible.
See, yeah, I didn't enjoy that one. But Cameron and I beat him with the. Go for it.
Lesnar beat the Big Show with the chair, beat him up with the chair, and then does something to him. So it's like just all around that looked horrible to me.
I get that, and I hate to say that Naomi does something bad because I really enjoy her, but I think I don't want to put all the blame on one person, but really Cameron's abilities or lack thereof really showed through in that match with Cover Him and all the other stupid crap she did in that match. They weren't able to get on the same page, and it stinks because Naomi's one of my favorites going right now, especially with the departure of AJ, which I'm sure we might talk about soon enough. We will, she might be on track to finally get that Divas title. So sorry she's in this category, but what can you do when you have to wrestle Cameron?
Say no.
That having been say what?
Say no.
Say no,
on Cameron. Pull CM Punk. If you see Cameron or Marie across from your name on the board when you walk in, just pull a CM Punk.
Say no. Just say no, kids. Just say no. Go straight edge like Punk and say no to working with terrible people. So that brings us to the worst feud of the year. Back in 1990, this was given to Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake, which no one apparently liked. Last year was Big Show versus The Authority, which I agreed with. And this year's winner is the Bella feud, Nikki versus Brie, followed by John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, John Cena versus The Authority, Fandango versus Layla and Summer Rae, and Bull Dempsey versus Mojo Rawley. I'll start this one off and say there's a reason that this, if you follow the WrestleCrap website, there's a reason this was co-winner of the coveted Gooker Award for 2014, and it's because it was terrible. It also is because this feud started out so strong. Like most things that are terrible with the WWE, this had a lot of promise in the beginning, in my opinion. The stuff that Brie was doing with Stephanie McMahon was great in my mind, and then Nikki Bella came in, and they had a hot angle going into it after the SummerSlam match. Sister versus sister, they wanted to do it for years. This is something they could finally do, and it just fell completely flat. Neither of them can act as well as they could have, with lines like "But I never told anyone," and "I wish you died in the womb." There was just no reason for anybody to enjoy this. And then at some Survivor Series, the feud just ends because for no reason. That they're sisters, and that's what it is. So 3 months of feuding and hating each other completely out the window, and now they're both heels and they love each other again. I don't get it. It made no sense. I don't want to see it anymore. Adam?
I have to agree. If I haven't made it clear in previous podcasts, I hate the Bellas. What Brie did with Stephanie throughout the summer, a couple of it was entertaining. When it came time for the match at SummerSlam, I was done. That was, like I said, I was there live. That was my bathroom break. When they entered Stephanie versus Brie, I left. Went and used the restroom, got a refill on my soda, and came back just in time to see them leave the ring. Timed that pretty perfectly, if you ask me. And then just heading in, that's what led to the Nikki versus Brie thing, and that was just horrible. I don't know how many memes were made of just how horrible it was. That was kind of fun though.
I definitely got in on that. The "But I never told anyone" meme. Those were fun. Those were fun.
There was one of AJ with like some kind of weird looking face that said like, "When I have to watch another Bella Twin segment" or something like that. It was hilarious. Those were good times. But yeah, the Bellas suck, and this feud showcased they had nobody to carry them throughout the feud, so it was just them two, which really showed their limited ability. I mean, they can hide their stuff when they're feuding with AJ, when they're feuding with Paige, or even Stephanie, or whoever else, basically. Their abilities, their weaknesses could be hidden, but when it's just those two, it's full front spotlight, and the IWC is very critical.
Yes,
it is
critical, and that's something you got to watch out for. And I normally would defend the Bella Twins because I think that their ring work and their abilities as performers is getting a lot better than what it used to be. But man, this just was not the best way to do it in my mind. The booking made no sense. The acting just wasn't there. Coming from someone who knows what acting is, it just wasn't there at all. Not even getting Jerry Springer involved was going to solve anything. So I have
Springer was kind of hilarious though.
But it didn't help. Still didn't help though.
No, he didn't make that segment. I did enjoy him, but still, the feud was.
Yeah,
the feud was horrible.
I have no qualms about this one winning. This is definitely one of those things that I'm okay with happening. Now I'll move on to something even more depressing, oddly enough, than a Bella Twin feud. Is the most disappointing news item of the year. This is given to just a piece of wrestling news outside of the normal storylines that when you heard it, you just got really, really sad. So past winners are usually deaths of performers. The first winner was Scott Steiner getting injured. Last year, they gave it to the death of Paul Bearer, which makes a lot of sense, and it's definitely there. There's not much to say about past winners of this, so I'll get to this winner. This year's winner was Daniel Bryan being injured for most of the year. And rounding out the second through fifth place is CM Punk walking out of the WWE after the Royal Rumble, the death of the Ultimate Warrior, the death of Connor the Crusher Mahalik, and CM Punk alleging medical negligence on the part of WWE. So this is a really hard one to judge or to review because all of these were pretty terrible things. And like we've had to do is which one's the most terrible. It's very hard to say. There's always a part of me as terrible as it was for Daniel Bryan to be injured for basically weeks after he won the championship at WrestleMania, coupled with his dad dying, coupled with a fan that made a lot of support in his life, Connor, dying, coupled with him getting robbed. That probably did it was what did a lot of people. Just the whole that it was such a great moment at the beginning and then went to the end. But I'm more inclined to think that the Warrior passing away just after he made peace with his former wrestling foes and getting into the Hall of Fame was a more disappointing item, and it definitely stunned me throughout the year. We talked about it on past podcasts and for other groups, and it just was one of those things that really sucked. And the whole CM Punk thing is disappointing for a lot of reasons, although he seems happy now, so good for him. And I was a big Connor fan, and that video made me sweat through my eyes, as it usually did. So that's all I have to say about that. I think it was Warrior. I think for me, I was most shocked and upset by the Warrior going, but I can see why people were upset about Daniel Bryan being injured, especially when you realize just how still much of a presence people still loved him. He was all over the best ofs when we did it 3 weeks ago. So, Mr. Adam, what do you think about this one? Not to bring the conversation down too much.
My worst news would be the Ultimate Warrior passing. It was very hard to hear. He was one of my favorites growing up. I used to imitate him. I was him for Halloween when I was little, at least twice. Once when he was in the WWE, again when he returned to WCW. I was him for Halloween that year, and then to honor him this year, I was him for Halloween again this year. My brother was Sting, so we were the Blade Runners for Halloween. That was kind of cool.
Nice, I like that.
I would have to go with that. Yeah, that was tough. And watching his DVD after he died and hearing him talk, then it was hard to watch and him even worse. If I were to rate it, it would be The Warrior, and then CM Punk would be right behind him. CM Punk was my favorite wrestler since 2006.
Yes,
it was him and John Cena. John Cena was my favorite wrestler when he debuted in 2002. He was my favorite wrestler until 2006 when CM Punk came out with his straight edge lifestyle, because I don't drink or do drugs or any of that, and to have this guy say here that he doesn't do any of that, it instantly related to me because there's really no one else around me that doesn't do it. So from 2006 until the day he walked out, CM Punk was my favorite wrestler. Good guy, bad guy, mid-card, main event. He was my favorite wrestler, and for him to walk out, it kind of hurt. Just because I don't have that anymore. But I understand his reasons, and I'm not mad at him. Selfishly, Selfishly, I mean, I sit here and say everything, but it's not my choice, and as long as he's happy, who am I to say anything about that? So it would go Warrior, and then Punk, and then Daniel Bryan's injury. Yes, but he got injured. With him being able to come back, it softens the blow. If he retired, it would be a whole different story.
Absolutely.
When Edge retired, I couldn't believe it.
One.
And that would have been my news for, 2012? 11, something like that, whenever it was.
Yeah, the only thing that I think, if I remember the voting correctly, the only thing that beat that, which well-deserved, was the death of the Macho Man, because that happened the same year.
Same year. Then, yeah, that's understandable. But, yeah, if Daniel Bryan was forced to retire, his injury would rank higher, but since he's able to come back and everything, it softens the blow. And Connor, for me, it's not really wrestling related. It's a sad piece of news, but when I think of wrestling, I'm not thinking of Connor.
I can understand that. I don't know. I definitely did it. It showed a really good side of WWE, the whole Connor story, in a time where there aren't too many of those these days. So that's why it got me and definitely made me sweat through my eyes. But no, I definitely agree. I think Warrior's death is the most shocking, the most disappointing, especially because he looked like he was going to be so good, or continue to have a presence with the WWE, continue to mend those fences that he definitely broke in the 90s and the 2000s with everybody. And when I go back and watch the Hall of Fame and hear him say that the most awesome thing he's going to get to do is to be his daughter's father, I'm sweating through my eyes hardcore.
Yeah,
when
that's
I hear
really
that.
really hard for me too.
Mm,
Having two kids of my own.
yeah.
Anything like that. That's why Connor, the Hall of Fame speech got to me too. Like that's really hard
Oh
when you
yeah.
relate to it. So
I get that. Now we'll lift the spirits a little bit and get into the worst announcer of the year. How about that? What do you think? Let's have some more, a little bit more fun now that we've taken our dark turn for the day.
I already know my pick. I don't even need to hear it.
All right. Okay. We'll do something different. What's your prediction that it's going to
Off the
be?
top, Corey Graves. I gotta go with Corey Graves.
Unfortunately, Corey Graves does not make even the top 5 on that one, but we'll get to why you don't like
Idiot.
Corey Graves in a second. I want to tell you that in 1990, Vince McMahon was voted the worst commentator of the year.
What?
90s, he wasn't the best. He definitely picked up and improved. I'll tell that much. The award was then split into play-by-play and color until 2013 when it was recombined, and Michael Cole was the winner back in 2013. And then he was also the worst play-by-play for 2009, 10, 11, and 12. So I guess you can say he's got a little streak going.
It's
And
horrible.
this year, the streak continues. Michael Cole wins with JBL, Jerry Lawler, Alex Riley, and Taz as the bottom 5 on that one. And I know Adam's got some stuff to say about a one tattooed savior of misbehavior. So go ahead, Adam.
How does he not make the list?
He
Like
started off
how?
really strong. And he also only commentated for a month
I
in
don't care.
2014.
But that Monty sucked. It was horrible to listen to. I've never been very hard on commentators, except for Adam Lee,
Oh
as
God, he
the
was terrible.
finest tour.
Hmm.
And I don't get on commentators as much as a lot of people do. Like if Jesus was here, he would I know he would have a lot to say. So I'm kind of glad he's not here right now because this would be a
Hmm.
whole another hour just on this topic from Jesus himself.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Um, I just Corey Graves is just the first person in a long time where I'm like, this guy really. Um, I'm in the minority here, but I'm a coal miner. Um, Not necessarily for his commentating, but for how he reacts to the storylines that he's in, and when
Yeah,
they play on that he sucks. Um, I think that the rap that he gets is very unfair. He had to fill JR's shoes, and no matter who was put in that position, the IWC would hate him.
it could have been freaking John Madden or I don't who's Phil
Al
Sims
Michaels,
or Al
um,
Michaels or Bob Costas. It could have been any of those guys or yeah, any of those people. Could have been Al Michaels. We'll go with that one because everyone loves him, and people still would have crapped all over him. He's Al freaking Michaels.
exactly. That's why I can't hate Michael Cole for stepping up to the plate and taking an impossible job. And the thing about it is, the person that replaces Michael Cole is going to be loved, unless it's Mike Adamle.
Nah, it won't be Mike Adamle. I'll tell you that much. They learned their
But
lesson with him.
if somebody comes in and just like basically knows the names of wrestlers and moves and what's going on in the storylines, like people are going to love him just because he replaced Michael Cole, and that's not going to be
Right?
fair. He could
It
be at the
isn't.
same level as Michael Cole, but people will say he's better, he's this, he's that. Finally, Cole is gone just because Cole was a guy that was picked to replace JR, and it's not fair.
Sure.
So I'm
Sure.
not going to vote for Michael Cole.
The only
And
time I ever. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's more of my anti-IWC picks. Anytime they kind of hate a guy, I kind of like him. Anytime they like a guy, I almost try not to like him.
Yeah, I can see that. I can understand that. For me, I'm definitely on board with you and the coal miner gang on this one. There was maybe a stretch of time between the debut of the original NXT in 2010 and Jerry Lawler's heart attack in 2012, aka the Michael Cole heel run, where I couldn't stand him because he wasn't calling the match. Because he wasn't doing his job as a commentator to take over this character. And that was the problem. When the lead voice is a heel, it's a novel concept, but it just doesn't work. But before that, during his past, even now, I can't say that I dislike him because I really like him. I always loved how he reacts to stuff. His probably my favorite catchphrase he's ever done was "Not this way, not this way, damn it!" Anytime a heel would get a dirty pin, it was great. I love that, and I thought that the emotion he said that with was fantastic. People are giving him a bad rap because of who he replaced, which is the most beloved commentator of all time, and the fact that the second most beloved commentator of all time, Joey Styles, is sitting in a corporate job while Michael Cole, who people don't like, is running the show. That can definitely rub some people the wrong way. My vote is honestly either JBL or Jerry Lawler could be in that spot. I loved JBL as a commentator, and when he first got into it back in 2006, I think it was. Then when he came back after Jerry Lawler got his heart attack, he was fantastic. Last year, fantastic. This year, I don't know what happened. Whether he's being micromanaged or whatever, but saying the same thing over and over and over again and making very little sense. And his constant overuse of the word "mago" when he talks to Cole is incredibly annoying. And Jerry Lawler just has been phoning it in since 2002. There's not too much to say about that.
The three-man booth isn't working. You have two play-by-play guys. One's a face, one's a heel, and they're going at each other while you have Michael Cole trying to call the match. And then when he tries to call the match, JBL is getting on him. And another problem that I have with JBL is I don't know if he's heel or face. Like,
exactly.
It's not set. Like, remember, like, Keenan would always go for the heels. Always, always. No matter what. Jerry Lawler, he did that too. Unless some serious issue happened with, like, JR. Jerry Lawler was heel, 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 heel. No matter what happened, it was always, he always justified it. With JBL now, it's like, oh, I like this guy, but I don't like this guy. So, like, this guy's cheating, but this guy's not. And it's not like heel or face, because you know the heels never cheat, but the faces always do. Is this heel is cheating, but this heel isn't. Like, it. So it's hard to follow.
It was really stupid. I don't like it either. And the three-man booth can work. We've seen it it works on NXT. Any combination of Tom Phillips, Rich Brennan, Byron Saxton, Jason Albert, Renee Young, Alex Riley, even Corey Graves sometimes. I'm not going to try to get you started on that one, Adam. But any time that they throw three of those people in there, it works just fine.
Why can't the difference there is the NXT commentators don't have characters. They are commentators. That's what they do. They're there to call the match.
Yeah.
They have their niche, like that. Why they're there? Corey Graves, Jason Albert. They're there because they're veterans in the ring. They've been there. They do.
Same with A-Rod, even though he's not as good. Yeah. I kind of liked him, but still, same thing.
Yeah, they're there for that. What's going on in the ring? The mentality of the wrestler. You have Renee Young or Byron Saxton calling the match or asking them questions like, "Oh, what's going on here? What does this do?" When you have two great wrestlers and they're both trying to play their characters of what they wore in the ring, that's the problem. When they're complete opposites and it's not working, and then they go back and forth and they're trying to outdo each other almost. Or JBL is trying to steal the show, it seems like. When NXT, they're trying to sell the show.
Truth. I'd agree with that. That's why all of the best commentators for this award were all NXT people, and William Regal included in that. Can't forget him, who actually won it. And all the folks over here are not. And drink for a TNA bash, but man, Taz is a shell of his former self as a commentator, and it showed last year. And that's all I want to say about that.
Speaking of, if you look at 2015 Taz, he is worse.
Oh, jeez.
He had good chemistry with Tenay, and Josh Matthews comes in, and I think that it has something to do with the way that they're filming Impact, and then having Taz and Matthews like filming or commentating elsewhere, and It's weird how they do it. They're like in a studio like every
Yeah.
week.
I like the
And
ringside better. Ringside works better.
Josh Matthews is holding his own. I've always been a fan of Josh Matthews,
I
but
love Josh
Taz is
Matthews.
just he's lost and his
Hmm.
worth. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him on this list, number one, coming
In the future,
2015.
soon enough. And then I want to throw a special honorable mention to Vampiro, whom I just can't get behind as a commentator.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started. The first night of Lucha Underground, I will never forget. He's
Damn dog,
bashing Conan the whole time for
the
no apparent reason.
whole time. See, this is what's going on with the other companies like Lucha and TNA. You got one guy who's great, Striker Matthews, and one guy who's not, Vampiro and Taz. And if we could just get somewhere, because if Matthews wants to jump ship and go to Lucha Underground, get Vampiro off of there, and make Striker a color guy, that will just improve it so much.
Oh my
That,
gosh!
that's all I'm going to say about that, because we're getting into Jesus levels of talking about announcers. So I'm going to go to the worst interview of the year. So the worst promo guy, back 25 years ago in 1990, it was the Ultimate Warrior. Yes. I mean, throw the spaceship. I think in
I
1990,
can't
this was the
disagree.
famous. You say what?
I can't disagree.
You
I
can't
can't.
disagree. 1990, I believe, was the year of the throw the plate into a nosedive promo that he did before WrestleMania 6 for Hulk Hogan. That thing that he did. 2013, last year, it was the Great Khali, which was also in 2012 and all throughout the mid to late 2000s. He won this award. This year, for the worst promos of 2014, and we touched on it a little bit earlier, but it goes to Roman Reigns, followed by Brie Bella, John Cena, The Great Khali, and Nikki Bella. So what do you think about this, Adam? Is
As soon as you said worst promo, I instantly thought of Roman Reigns. Um, his video montage, whatever, him via satellite, those were just horrible. Um, I thought it was just me because, like I said, I wasn't a Reigns fan in 2014, and so I didn't want to see him. He was injured. He couldn't do anything. I didn't want to see him talk and like get to the action, get to the people that are there. But then, getting online and there's the IWC being very critical of the guy they liked a month ago because of one promo. So it
Mhm.
would have to go to him. Um, I don't understand why Bree is rated higher than Nikki. Um, because
Or
Nikki,
rated worse than Nikki, because yeah, I'd agree with that.
yeah, I would put Nikki up there, like Roman Reigns and then Nikki Bella.
Hmm.
I feel Bree did a pretty decent job in their feud. It wasn't bad. Bree didn't have the bad lines that was like, oh my god, this is horrible. It was Nikki that was like, I wish you died in the womb. I
Yeah.
never told anybody. That was
Hmm.
Nikki. I don't remember, like, besides Bree just being horrible, I don't remember like a bad, like, oh my god, that's horrible. I'll always remember it for being so bad.
Yeah, she didn't have a bad line. And I kind of forgot about some of that Roman Reigns stuff because I think when he really started to suck on the mic was when I stopped kind of paying attention to Raw, except for catching recaps and watching videos on YouTube. So I didn't really get to see how bad he was, but it makes sense. Because I mean, out of the Shield, he's definitely the worst talker of the three of them. I mean, when your compatriots are Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, two of the better talkers in the company, especially Dean. Um, it is just very difficult to hold your own in that regard. So having him be the strong silent type for 2 years was great. Then they tried to put a mic in front of him and give him fairy tales to say, and it just doesn't work at all. And it's not one of those things. There is a meme, I'm sure it's going around the internet. It's the current picture that I'm looking at right now. It's called the Roman Reigns face, which is basically his half smirk, weird like crow's feet kind of thing that he's got going on, and it's really weird. I for an honorable mention, one of the people that I voted for, Cameron. I'm crapping on her a lot this time around, but man, her that's just that you know those people who they're very cute looking, and then when they open their mouths, it just doesn't match what you think it's going to, and it sounds worse. That's Cameron. And it sucks for me to say that, but man, anytime she spoke, I couldn't deal with it. But I could see why people would say Roman Reigns is the worst promo guy of the year. It just didn't work, and it fell completely flat. And the acting lessons helped a little bit, but I think he needs a few more.
He's getting there, though. 2015 should be his year. Most improved.
I think so. He was most improved last year, too, so we'll see what happens.
He can get it again. Just in these 4 months, he's been most improved so far.
I think you're right. I think you're very right. So now we come to the worst angle of the year. Back in 1990, this was given to It was a tie, actually, between Earthquake breaks Hulk Hogan's ribs, and again, there's a get well card drive. And the other winner was the Black Scorpion angle.
Oh, I love the Black Scorpion angle.
Yeah, you might have been the only one.
But I watched it after years had passed. I wasn't watching it live, but going back and watching it, I love that angle.
But now, I'm sure at the time it was not the best thing in the world. Last year's winner was Big Show interferes in the Battleground main event, and the match ends without explanation, which that was really stupid. So yes, I would agree with that. And this year's winner is the Batista returns to win the Royal Rumble. Is the worst angle of the year. Followed closely by the Bella Twins forgetting about their feud because they're sisters. Dean Ambrose losing a TLC match against Bray Wyatt when a monitor explodes in his face. Bray Wyatt defeating John Cena with the aid of a creepy child. And the New Day debuting as happy, fun-loving black people who love to have fun. So those were the worst angles of the year, according to the fans. And I think I've pretty much made all of my votes for the Bella Twins except Batista. Because, man, the backlash for that was just horrendous. I don't know what Vince and company were smoking when they thought that shoving aside their red-hot Daniel Bryan in favor of giving one of the most important victories of the year to a dude who hasn't been there in 4 years and then just get shotgunned into that spot. Whoever thought that was a good idea, I'm going to put you on the list of people along with the people who voted Undertaker as most deteriorated because it just didn't work at all. That's just what everything on this list is, things that don't work. And that one just they tried to salvage it, and they were partially successful reforming Evolution, turning Batista heel. But, man, it just was not there that night. I'd say, even though the crowd reaction against Roman Reigns was worse than the one against Batista, I think that it was most deserved for Batista to have that negative crowd reaction. Adam, is this the worst angle of the year?
Yeah. You brought up some good points. How do they give that match to Batista? And he's won a Royal Rumble. That's the thing. That's an accomplishment.
He already has it.
Yes. So why not give it to someone else?
Good point.
It could have worked out so many different ways. Just like right now, I'm thinking Daniel Bryan could have won the Rumble, but then Triple H could have thrown Batista in the WrestleMania match anyways, just because he's Batista and he's Triple H. That could have worked, and we could have had the same outcome. Yeah, that was bad. Nikki and Brie, yeah, anything they do was horrible.
And this isn't even all of the stuff on Nikki and Brie. I think other options for that was the start of the feud and then also the Jerry Springer thing. But I think that people voted for the finale of the feud for how stupid it was, and also just as a cap for everything else.
MVP's heel turn, that was kind of bad too, actually.
Yeah, that made no sense either. So I don't know what that one.
Bully Ray's face turn.
Bully Ray puts Dixie Carter through a table. Drink for TNA bashing, because as much as I love Bully Ray, I didn't care about that at all.
That was okay.
That's all we got. We've already talked about the New Day and the stuff with the TV monitor and the creepy child. Yeah, you could say that. It's all right. That wasn't the best thing in the world, but yeah, the right guy, the right crappy angle won this one. So good job, internet. You got one. You got one, internet. Good for you. Good for you. Next up is the worst TV or YouTube show put on by a wrestling company. Back in 1994, when wrestling TV really started to take off, the loser of this was WCW Worldwide, if you can remember what that was. Yep. And this past year, TNA Impact was the worst show of 2013, continuing a trend from 2012. They were looking at three-peat, and their streak is broken by the worst TV/YouTube show of 2014, WWE Total Divas.
Wow.
One final, or what was it? Rounded out TNA Impact Wrestling, WWE SmackDown, and WWE Legends House. So 4 WWE shows in Impact are considered the worst, one of them being a reality show as the top call. We've talked about how much we don't like Total Divas, yet most of us continue to watch it, or at least catch it on the network because there's nothing else. Adam, is this right?
No, it's not. I actually enjoyed the show Total Divas.
Okay.
I mean, I like watching Paige and who else is on there? When Summer Rae was on there, I love Summer Rae. There's always like one diva on there that I'd like to see, so I watch. And I know it's scripted, it's just a show, like, but I actually watch that. What I don't watch is SmackDown. I haven't watched SmackDown in like 2 years. I actually have an article up on the site right now that I posted yesterday about SmackDown and their move to USA.
I think I saw that.
That people are excited about their move, but I wouldn't get excited yet because it doesn't matter what channel SmackDown is on. It has sucked for years. And it was good when it wasn't on cable. That's when SmackDown was at its best. So there's that. But I have to go with... I would go with SmackDown because I didn't watch it, and then Impact because I stopped watching it.
Yeah.
I'm watching it now, and it's decent. But of what I watch, it's probably my least favorite. And Legends House was amazing.
Yeah,
Legends House.
People who said Legends House is the worst do not know comedy and or how crazy veteran wrestlers can be.
If I was going to say a bad show on the network is the Countdown. I was watching it, or WrestleMania Rewind. Those two shows I started watching when it first came out. The first WrestleMania Rewind was cool because it gave a bunch of backstage information. Then it started just getting into where it was like reliving the feud. And I was like, I already know all this. I don't want to watch that. So I stopped. Countdown pissed me off. And I'll always remember this. The factions, best factions, they counted down. And the top 3 ended up being like, or the top 4 was the 4 Horsemen, the NWO, the Brood was number 2, and then DX was number 1.
That, I don't know what that was, if they just can't let anything that's not WWE be a good thing. But as much as I love the Brood, I love that, but that made no sense for them to be in that group. If they were to go with the whole ministry, maybe. But just the Brood, it made no sense to put them higher than freaking 4 Horsemen and the NWO. It made absolutely no sense.
I could go with the top 3, DX, NWO, and the Horsemen, and interchange them and make an argument for all 3 of them to be 1, 2, or 3. Like, they're all interchangeable. I get it. But the Brood, they didn't belong there.
Brood made no sense. Brood made absolutely no sense. As much as I enjoyed them, it made no sense. And
because of that, I stopped watching Countdown, and I would have to rate Countdown as one of the worst shows. Because
Countdown was hit or miss for me because there were moments like that, but then there were other things that I enjoyed about it. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
You know what it is? It's fan voted. It's fan voted. So, the IWCers go over there and vote.
Yep. Absolutely. but I don't know. And even then, I don't know how the Brood got in that mix. That makes no sense to me.
Because they seen them and they're all like, "Oh, the Brood, cool!" Click, and then they rack up votes like that.
Apparently, I'm kind of inclined to agree with Total Divas' spot on here. I do watch the show. I watch the stuff that's on the network because I don't have cable, so I don't have E to watch the new stuff. And some of the older stuff, it's a little weird because I just don't like that they at least when it gets to the live shows, when it gets to like Raw or SmackDown or stuff like or NXT, it knows what it is. It knows it's a wrestling show. They know what they are. With Total Divas, I don't know if they know what it is yet because they're trying to pass it off as serious, or are they doing wrestling angles on the show? It's just I can't figure it out. I can't figure it. That part is confusing to me. That it's pressed off as reality, but it's a wrestling reality show, so there's going to be some kayfabe thrown in there. But is it kayfabe or is this real? What's going on? I don't understand. That's my complaint about Total Divas.
A couple bad things about Total Divas. You reminded me when they do the angles that happened the night before, because you know it airs on Sunday, and then here we go on Monday, and you have Natalya versus Summer Rae because like one of them slapped each other. They're just like, that happened months ago, and they're just now wrestling about it. Like, it's ridiculous. And then when they're all sitting in the back and they're all like shocked that something happened, it's like, wait, y'all don't know like this stuff is going to happen. Like when Nikki won the title, and you guys are all shocked because Nikki won the title. It's like you didn't know Nikki was going to win the title. It's kind of hilarious.
That's what I can't deal with about the show is it doesn't know what it is, and once they figure out what it is, it'll be better. But if you put Legends House in there, you obviously are stupid. Also, I'll put you in the same category with the people who voted Undertaker most deteriorated. Because Legends House was amazing. Yes, it was also one of those shows that got overly kayfabe at times, and then they broke the barriers and everybody cried, and it was just a really cool way to end the show. And also, just one point about Legends House, they were painting, and even in the reunion special, painted Tony Atlas as the most annoying member of that house. I'm going to disagree. While Tony Atlas was really, really weird, I could not get behind the portrayal of Jimmy Hart on that show. He just came off as Weasley and annoying and really, really stupid. And I'm going to give Tony Atlas some credit, and I never thought I would ever say that. So there you go. There you go.
They really need to make a new one. I hope that it's in the works.
Yes. Keep Hillbilly Jim. He's the one you can keep, and get all new people.
I want to do it with like crazy ones like Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Austin, Hulk Hogan, like everyone that hates each other.
Yep, Sheiky Baby. Got to get Sheiky Baby in there. That would just I don't know if they could get the censors behind that one, but they'll see what they can do. All right, we've only got 2 awards left, so I'm going to move on. We've got the worst major show of the year, pay-per-view, special events, whatever it is. 1991 was the first one, went to WCW's Great American Bash, or as I like to call it, the night WWF stood for We Want Flair. And last year was WWE's inaugural Battleground, which definitely had some terrible, terrible moments in there. The worst major show of the year, according to the fans, is WWE's Tables and Ladders and Chairs and Stairs, by almost 1,500 votes, followed by Battleground, Royal Rumble, Hell in a Cell, and Night of Champions. Again, this is probably a case of recent memory hate syndrome again, because there were some bright spots on that card. Dolph Ziggler versus Luke Harper. The ladder match was great. The Seth Rollins table match with John Cena, also pretty good. I enjoyed that one. Until the end, the Dean Ambrose Bray Wyatt thing was cool. Then there were odd, random stinkers throughout that match. We talked about Rowan and Show and Kane and Ryback already, and other things that happened during that match. But I don't know if this is the worst, but I don't know if there's anything worse than this one. I personally voted for the Bound for Glory crossover with Wrestle One in Japan because nobody knew about it. It's like the biggest show of the year. And it's like, okay, we're having this great WrestleMania. and now it's okay. Okay, have fun, enjoy. No promotion, very little to be excited about. I'm sure the matches were great because Japanese wrestling always does good things, but no reason to be excited about that one. Thoughts on this one, Adam?
When you said worst major show, I instantly thought Bound for Glory.
There you
Um,
go. Drink.
and the hard thing about that is I didn't watch it. So
I
like I
knew.
don't know what the card looked like. I don't know what the match looked like, but why am I going to pay $50 to watch something that was pre-recorded? Like,
Exactly.
why am I going to watch the biggest show of the year to not see any of the feuds that have been building not blown off? Like, that made
Exactly.
no sense to me. Um,
Hmm.
so with that alone, it has to go to Bound for Glory. WWE, or I think it was Battleground. Um, is that's the one that happened in like middle of July?
It
It was
happened in
like
July. It was the four corner match between Cena, Reigns, Orton, and Kane.
yeah, like right before Money in the Bank or something like that. Like it was just a thrown together pay-per-view. It was
Hmm.
just it was horrible. It was a bad pay-per-view. It was kind of
Hmm.
pointless. It was like 2 weeks after Extreme Rules and 2 weeks before Money in the Bank, and it just there was no point for it. And you can tell everyone kind of phoned it in. Uh, I don't even know what happened on that. I think the Usos had a match, and that was probably the best match of the night.
Oh,
And
Usos Wyatt family 2 out of 3 falls was the best match of the night. It was one of the best matches
yes,
of the
and
year.
then after that, it just went downhill. I think Paige and AJ had a match that wasn't that great. Um,
Probably.
it was just it was a bad night all around. That was probably the worst WWE pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah.
Um, TLC, I enjoyed the pay-per-view. I really did.
I didn't
As a
mind.
whole.
I didn't mind how bad it was. I think a lot of people, it leaves a lot of bad taste in people's mouths because 3 days earlier we got NXT Revolution, which is one of the best shows, which was the best show of the year according to the fans.
A
So
couple
in that,
things too. When people are rating shows, they hang on like one bad thing. They're like,
yeah,
oh, Eric Rowan versus Big Show was a horrible match, so that's a horrible pay-per-view. But it's like you're not looking at like Seth Rollins versus John Cena was good, but
hmm,
it wasn't because it had John Cena in it, according to the IWC, because nothing he does is good.
according to them, I get that
But they're
completely.
wrong. They're wrong.
There's very wrong, and I definitely think maybe people didn't vote for Bound for Glory because they forgot about it too. So I don't know,
Drink.
but that would definitely go for drink. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely drink. So now we've got the final award. We have made it all the way to this far. The worst promotional move of the year. Uh, First award was given in 1991 when WCW lost Ric Flair. In that whole thing, and WCW's loss is WWE's gain. Last year's winner was WCW putting Daniel Bryan's push on hold in favor of John Cena and Randy Orton, which in a year where TNA made some really crappy decisions, that one just kind of blows my mind. Lets people know that everyone loves Daniel Bryan a little too much, even that year. I love him too. Let's not be there. But this year, I agree with this one. This year, the worst promotional move of 2014 was Vince McMahon burying much of the WWE roster on a live podcast with Steve Austin. Uh, yep. Followed very closely behind by WWE firing Alberto Del Rio after Del Rio suffers a racist incident, TNA secretly rehiring Vince Russo, WWE writing almost all of its Diva angles to coincide with Total Diva storylines, and WWE pushing Roman Reigns. I would agree with this one. The winner, yes. The rest of them, probably not. Because in a year where TNA loses its cable deal, if that's not at least number two, and a year where CM Punk gets fired after walking out and that whole debacle that they had, I don't know why those aren't even in the top 5 here. They might be in the top 10, and I at least hope they are. But when you get the chairman of the company to get on there and say, and basically, and this is a big pet peeve of mine, is basically blaming the roster for being born in the wrong time, is why that they suck, according to him. These guys are terrible because they're all young people. And all young people, all those damn millennials, damn it, they don't know how to work. They don't know how to be ambitious and go after themselves and yada yada you, and Cesaro isn't over. Whatever he was gonna say. That's just a huge pet peeve of mine. It really does piss me off. This is the other co-winner of the coveted Gooker Award that WrestleCrap.com does. Shout out to those boys. So I can understand it. I agree with it. It just doesn't look good when the chairman is bashing his own roster. And if that was meant to light a fire under their butts, I guess it worked. But it probably could have been a better way to do that than on a live podcast put on by your own damn network to do that. I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I think it's a very contradictory statement in some instances and just very short-sighted to just blame it on the generation and being born in the wrong era. I hate that. I see it all the time in other lines of work that I do, and I'm just not a fan of it. Technically, I am a millennial. Even though I don't feel like one, technically I am one. And so when he just discounts everything that we're doing because it's not his generation, it just bothers me. And I'll get off my soapbox. Adam, what do you think?
Worst promotional move is holding Bound for Glory in Japan.
Yep, that too.
Oh my God. I can't bash. Like, I understand the Vince bashing that you did. But I have to say that Bound for Glory was worse. The WWE didn't lose anything from Vince saying what he said. It probably just pissed people off and wanted to light a fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so Bound for Glory lost a lot. They lost a lot doing that. So that has to be the worst move. Like, when there's actually loss there, who watched it? I mean, we were monitoring comments, and there was 2 comments from me and Jesus to say, "Hey, come watch something else with us." Like, that was half the comments.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, nobody's watching it. Diehard fans are like, "Why am I going to watch this? Why am I going to pay $50 to watch something that's pre-recorded?" Man, that was bad. That was bad. Because what did they gain from it? Because they still lost their cable deal. Their still
Absolutely.
ratings are lower than what they were.
Mm-hmm.
They're running 2 pay-per-views this year. Lockdown was for free this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, you can't place that all on Bound for Glory, but what did they gain from it? I've seen more loss coming out of that than gain because nobody watched Bound for Glory. There was no payoff. There was nothing there to make anyone want to watch it. That was bad.
Yeah, it definitely was not a good thing. I definitely agree with your what was I going to say, with your analysis of that one. I just have problems with the whole millennial thing and the fact that apparently millennials are the problem and we're not ambitious and we're lazy and we don't want to go after the quote unquote brass ring, despite the fact that pretty much everything WWE, excuse me, I'm thinking about WWF, but everything WWE did on television that year kind of contradicted that statement. The fact that, oh, you're not getting over, or, oh, you're getting over, we're going to put you with Paul Heyman. Oh, wait, now you're not getting over? What's the problem? Or the Wyatt family's getting over, we're going to separate them. Oh, now none of them are getting over as strongly as they used to? What's the problem? Stuff like that just bothers me. And then to go ahead and say that, oh, it's the wrong generation. These damn young kids, get off my lawn. Damn it. That's just my 2 cents on that one. But on the TNA front, pretty much most of the things they did this year would be contenders for that. Losing their cable deal, still working with Russo when the people that you're trying to convince to give you a cable deal say they don't want you to work with Vince Russo. That's just boneheaded right there. It's just a stupid thing to do. Those are whoever made that decision also thinks that The Undertaker is the most deteriorated wrestler of 2014. That's all I'm going to say. And definitely your point makes sense. So in closing, people really don't like John Cena as much as we do. People also make bad decisions when it comes to what they think about certain things that happened in 2014, but also they can be spot on. So it's a nice grab bag. Always fun to do this. I guess this is the time where we go ahead and sign off. Adam, go ahead and lay on the social media jazz.
One thing I want to wrap up these awards. I'm gonna bash the IWC again because it was a bunch of WWE bashing.
Yeah, we don't like that.
if you look at the best of, it was indie promotion, NXT, indie guy, blah blah blah, NXT, and we get to the worst, and it's all WWE. Like
Mhm.
that bothers me. I'm an E guy. I'm a WWE guy. This is what I was
Yep,
raised on.
absolutely.
I watch very little indie wrestling, just because it's not prominent where I live.
Sure.
It just it bothers me when I'm not saying that they're perfect. They do a lot of bad stuff, but it just bothers me when you're saying like all the worst stuff comes from one company when you have TNA. Like
Yeah, it's dumb. And we're not being paid to love the WWE. We're paying them, to be completely honest, by getting the network. So we're not. Everyone these days, whether it's Chris Jericho, Sam Roberts, other people who do podcasts that actually like the WWE product, are accused of being shills, and that is definitely not us. We like what we like. There's plenty not to like about the WWE, and we talked about that quite a bit today and in other days. But all in all, it's definitely not the worst thing out there. There's a lot worse. A lot of people, a lot worse things happening. A lot of people making a lot worse decisions. So I don't know. Internet's gonna internet. That's why I don't. Even though I am a wrestling fan on the internet, I'm not a member of the IWC in my mind because I don't hate as fervently as they do. So if you're gonna hate, more power to you. I'm not gonna join you, and that's all I have to say about that.
exactly. I love the business, and
Mm-hmm.
I have my opinions, and I don't like everything, but at the end of the day, I respect the business and what it is, and I try to support everybody almost, like give everybody a chance. And if they're not cutting it, okay, you're not cutting it. You're not cutting it on the main stage. Go get better. Get them off my
Yep.
TV. Go get them better. But it just the WWE bashing over and over gets on my nerves sometimes. But
I can,
with that, follow us on Twitter, PMW Podcast, like our Facebook page. We have a lot of stuff going on. Send us your memes. We got a new thing, Meme Monday.
oh, fun.
Yeah, I
Let's get
created a
some.
couple for us. One includes La Parka. Go check that out. La Parka reference.
Gotta
It's
love
on
it.
the
Drink for real,
site.
the Parker reference, because those are great.
Yes, it's on the site right now. Meme Monday. We have Throwback Thursday. Posted video last week. Posted video this week. Facebook page, facebook.com/ Perfect Madness Wrestling.
Hmm.
A lot of things going on our social media. So if you're not following us, do it and
You're
converse with
dumb
us.
if you're not.
You really are,
Absolutely.
because we want to know what you want to see. We want to know what you want to hear. We want your feedback. Are we doing a good job? Are we not? And if you say we're not, pretty much wrong, we'll listen to you anyways.
We'll do it. Everyone's got their opinion, and everyone has the right to be wrong. That's what I say. Thank you for joining us on the 5th episode of the Perfect Madness Wrestling Podcast. We're going to be back here at some point next week. Jesus will be back from Dudleyville, hopefully, and we will have more things to talk about. If you want us to talk about something specific, let us know in the comments below or wherever the comments hang out on YouTube or on our site, whatever it is. Just let us know what you want us to talk about, because it doesn't have to be anything. It's whatever we want to do. So, and if there's something that you guys like and want us to talk about, whatever it is, we'll talk about it. So that's all I have to say for Adam, for Jesus on special assignment, for Son Guy Dudley, Larry Zabisco, and myself. It's Chris Darius saying, "Ooh yeah," and have a good night, everybody.